This is the Dads for Dads podcast. I am Johnnie Bedford. This is the show for the men nobody talks about, for the guys who are holding it together on the outside, but completely falling apart on the inside. No filter, no bullshit, just real conversations with real men who have been through it, and to discuss what it takes to actually be a present father. And today, episode 2, I've got my good friend here, Angus Campbell. Welcome to the show.
Oh man, thanks for having me.
And just quietly, we were 16 minutes into the first episode and realised I wasn't recording. And Angus wants to lead off with the joke of the day. He loves these.
All right. What sits at the bottom of the ocean and has anxiety?
What?
A nervous wreck.
Such a dad, eh? Angus, Dads for Dads, probably the OG member.
Love what you're doing, man.
Thank you, bro.
It's good.
Why don't you give the listeners a bit of an insight onto what it is and what we're about, what I do?
Having known you for nearly a decade, man, obviously I've kept up with your highs and lows and journeys in between. And after seeing your sort of eye-opening alignment to your true, authentic self, and I can say that confidently, man, I just knew what you were about, what the mission was, and I needed help. So the first start of any recovery is just asking for help. So I was pretty blessed, man. You know, you got me in. I can safely say, you know, nearly 12 months in now, it's probably been one of the biggest financial investments I've done that I've really seen a reward from.
Awesome.
So,
I love that. I love that, bro. I think that's one of the biggest things that I see with men is committing to the change and like financially committing to their growth, you know. That's where there's sort of a lot of dudes get hung up on is that taking that step of commitment. It's like that one, they don't know if it's going to work. And yeah, just a lot of those, a lot of men carry avoidance tendencies. And I sit there on these calls with these men and I can see their faces and like, you can see they're like, I get it. Okay, yeah, I get it. And it's like, all right, well, jump in. It's like, I've got to mow the lawns real quick, bro. I'll call you back.
It's amazing what comes up. Like, it's a pretty diverse spectrum, especially when you're having to identify in a process of grief. So you're already like facing denial. You're already facing anger. You're coming up with every reason why you shouldn't be feeling it. And then you're asking to be accountable when you're being emotionally avoidant. Like, it takes a big step, man.
It does. But honestly, like for me and myself, I've spent like 40 grand in courses and, you know, like coaches and all self-development stuff, man. And it's like, when I look back, fuck, I would have spent 80. Like, look at where I'm at in the best position I'm at physically, mentally, spiritually. You know, so it's like I love the one you say. I always say, where you don't change, you're choosing. What's the one you say about, you know, what's the one you say?
2 5 still make a 10? What? No, what? Which one?
No, you always say about...
I'm pretty philosophical about that, man. I read a quote and it sticks with me. What you don't change, you choose is one that you told me though, man, and I love that. But you'd never take advice from someone you wouldn't trade places with. That's a really good one.
That's the one.
So, you know, everyone's got a story and everyone's got through their trials and tribulations, but we live in a world now where, you know, go back 50 years, man, you'd only ever read a book if you went into the library.
Yeah.
Now we have this ability to listen to so many proven studies, therapies that work. You know, I brought the book, obviously, that I've been speaking about since, I was pretty lucky, actually. Like, when I very got early in the picture, we, because I'd been in my company that I'd worked in for over a decade, and work offered free counselling. So it was through like a health provider that the company, because they're publicly listed. And I remember one night sitting there in the apartment and I was just like, you know, you were on your journey. You hadn't come on NLP path yet or anything like that, man. And I don't know where you were, but no comment. And I reached out. I didn't tell anyone this, and I reached out to them. And it's free, 5 free counselling sessions. And you get on the phone with this woman that I think she lived in Canberra. And she said to me, I can only help you so far on this journey, and especially doing it on the phone. But what I can recommend you is to read one book. And this book has over 300,000 studies back behind it. They've sold over 3 million copies. No one's heard of it, and it's called The Happiness Trap. And it's about acceptance and commitment therapy. And when you start to realise what you're accepting is not changing for you or not working for you, then you can start the rebuild phase, which obviously...
Yeah, I think it ties into like the acceptance, bro. It's like there's a lot of people, a lot of men out there, or people in general who, refuse to look at themselves and look at their actions and how they react, and just blindly blaming external factors. And it's only until you sit there and shine light on your own shadows and assess how you react to love, anger, disappointment, rejection, and ask the question of, why do I react the way that I do? It's until you do that is when you can change.
I think it's also understanding, why can't I respond to the way that I do too? So we can always choose one of two things, and you think that everything has such diversity because everything is so scrambled now, man. Like the ability just to sit still in this day and age is so hard.
Yeah.
So much going on. You're sitting there, you're quiet, bang, there's a ding of social media notification, or, something's happening. But it's a pretty easy crossroad, man. It's either going to do something that's going to pull you towards your authentic self or pull you away from your authentic self, because growth is inevitable. It's just whether it's going to be positive or negative.
Yeah, which direction. Yeah, I love that, bro. Well, your divorce. So Angus, I've known him for about 10 years, and his timeline of his children, marriage, and divorce, I'm pretty sure I'm about 6 months behind you. So why don't you just set the scene for us, bro? How long were you with her? How many kids did you have? And how long since you guys are separated?
Yeah, well, I've got two beautiful children, man. I've got Cruz, who's almost 7, and I've got Arabella, who's almost 5.5. I met my ex, would have been just turned 21. So at a pretty fun point in life, man. Work career was going well, had a good social group of friendships, and thought I met the one, dude. And at that time in my life, it was a pretty quick love bomb, trauma bomb sort of thing. You're finally finding a reason to get out of what that social lifestyle was, finding something to do Monday to Friday, because you're Friday nights and Saturday nights and Sunday nights, where we were at. And, man, it was pretty quick. We were very similar at the time. We were hanging out on weekends, wearing boat shoes and loafers.
I remember that, I remember that.
Yeah, and then not too long after, man, blink and you miss it. I put on 60 kilos, I want to say, man. Like, I was fit, healthy, going to the gym with the boys every night. Before you know it, it's KFC for dinner, it's pizzas for dinner, it's beers and wine and everything else in between. So, and then, well, man, we separated 3 and a bit years ago, and then sort of, play the silly game of what if. But officially, divorced and everything like that now. So we drew the line in the sand at the end of nearly 2 years ago now, man.
And 2 years, how long would you say, and no one's claiming to have it all together, but how long would you say it's been since that turning point, that day where you stopped looking externally and started looking internally? Just comment on, your growth from there, because it's not always linear, you know what I mean?
What did you say this morning when we were going for a walk and, you're like, go up to the snake and it bites your hand? You can either do one of two things. You can be like, accept it, move on, or you keep following, wondering why that snake bit you.
You chase it to ask it why.
Yeah, and I guess for me, it was probably authentically, I'd been a part of Dads for Dads community and very seasonal in the moments that I was in, whether it was, oh, cool, this weekend I'm doing this weekend I'm not. And we had that one chat, dude, and you just no one's done it, man. You just uppercut me, dude.
With love.
Yeah, with love. Yeah, with love. And we just really started looking within. Like, I'd been very fortunate to have the ability to work with some really good people in my personal life as well, work life as well. I've had a lot of great people. Being in sales for the last 11 years, man, you have some amazing conversations with people in, their day in life, man. But yeah, dude, we just really shifted, and it was like, I knew you were always there for me, but the way you behaved towards me that day was like, shit, he sees this mask I'm wearing. And, I didn't say I had it all together, but I made out I was doing a lot better than what I was doing, man. And, you know, the old saying, we fake it until we make it, is pretty generationally passed down, but you can't keep running away. You know, you said to me once, it's not about having skeletons in the closets, but it's when they multiply. And you can't have a room that the light is not on, but you know what's in that room. And we turned that light on, man. And then from that day, it was like, I don't have it all together. That's okay. And I'm not here saying I've got it all together. Nor are you.
Yes.
But, you know, we're here to address it and to change it because, you know, in theory, we carry generations worth of trauma.
Fuck yeah.
And, you know, I'm statistically carrying what my grandfather carried, which is an amazing testimony of where he came from, being, you know, born in a prison of war camp in World War II, dude. So those were different times now. But to be naive to the fact of the world we're living in at the moment, the resources that are available, just because someone mightn't believe in your impact and story, you'd have to be negligent to really understand that, man, there's some really good studies out there now that can help people change from where they've gone, where they're going, and where they want to go.
Man, I think I might have said this on my podcast or one of my YouTube videos. I put out enough value and lessons. YouTube has it, books have it, podcasts have it. We are in a day and an age where there's never been more information out there available to us for free that will enable us to grow and learn and get to, like you said, get to where you want to go. But it takes yourself. And a lot of these people are in their current self, their current programs, their current patterns of avoidance and not accepting responsibility. That's why they struggle, you know, and that's where it's like a group setting and community and other men being vulnerable, other men saying, yeah, I have a problem with drugs, you know, and then it just creates a safe space for other men to be able to open up and do that. So yeah, I think that's why there's a lot of people that are still, you know, choosing coaching or choosing these, you know, people to help them in that space for that accountability. And I guess for other people, I think it takes for someone else to really point out your patterns.
Do you know statistically they've done proven studies how long it takes to create a habit?
28 days, isn't it?
It can go anywhere up to 6 months.
Yeah, there you go.
It can, depending on the person and the individual, and
Yeah.
everything's all there.
Yeah.
And it really depends, like if sobriety is a habit, or, you know, identifying values and true values is what can change habit forming quicker than anything else. And I think that was something I really got to discover publicly as well, like in Dads for Dads community, was, you know, what are my values?
Yeah.
You know, like my identity is a father, but in that fathering, what are my values? Is it, you know, being lazy on a Sunday morning, which is fine, watching TV with the kids and having some bacon and eggs, or is it, I mean, you know what it's like having young kids, dude. Is it going to the park at 6:30 in the morning and going for a ride on the push bikes? When you start to align with your values, your habits, before you know it, will quickly form around that.
100%. 100%, because you get that internal feeling of misalignment, unalignment, because, you know, the actions that you're taking doesn't align to the values that you're living by. Does that make sense?
It does.
I think that's also, it's a great one for a lot of people who live with like a resistance and a feeling of, I guess, being lost. And what that is a lot of people will have this vision or this version of themselves that they want to be, but they continually crumble to their current habits, patterns, mindset. And those two differences creates friction inside of people. Does that make sense? So people, like, say for instance, for me, I knew I wanted to do this coaching stuff. I knew I wanted to do podcasts. I knew I wanted to be the guy to help men through separation because I'd done it and I'd been there and done that. And then that I had so much internal friction because I was still spiraling. You know, when something negative would happen, I'd still spiral and use drugs and alcohol to escape. And then that was just creating this massive friction and like just disturbance inside my belly because I was living two separate lives. Or I was living one life but wanting another.
It's identity crisis, isn't it?
100%.
Yeah. You feel like you're suffering from especially when people have like, I mean, I've seen your journey, dude. So I know Johnny Woo Woo, and
He's dead.
He's
dead.
brother. But you know, there are people that would still label you as Johnny Woo Woo in their head, and when they see that, it's all their own internal projection. When you go deeper in it,
Yeah.
But they're like, he can't change because I've never changed. You know what I mean? Or, you know, my dad stayed the same since I was a child, and here I am, late 20s, early 30s, whoever else might relate there. He hasn't changed. So that means, you know, a leopard never changes its spots. But there comes a point where, I guess, like you said, man, what you don't change, you choose. And I've been very lucky. I didn't finish school, man. Like I wasn't an academic. I grew up in Melbourne, so, you know, we had a real nice area, and I chose to hang out with a different crowd of groups rather than the kids I went to primary school with who were academically excelling. And I've come out now where I'm like, I love information. So I read all these different books, man, that are out there and available to everyone, whether it's an audio book or it's physically having the piece just to sit still and listen to it, man. And there's this one book that just really close, one of my oldest friends gave me, and it's called Finding Happiness Through Gratitude, Empathy and Mindfulness. And it's as simple as that, dude. You know, it's working through what you're grateful for each day, empathizing for your story and others, and being mindful enough to, you know the difference between what is and isn't serving you.
A really impactful thing for a lot of people would be to learn and understand the subconscious mind, because it's until you do that is when you realize that a lot of the way you are and be is adopted programs that are not even yours, and then that enables you to have that mindfulness and to catch your thoughts. A lot of people think that this first voice that comes into your head is your thoughts, and it's not really your thoughts. Does that make sense? Like for me, I've got that voice who is like, don't go for the run today. Stop running, we're hurting. But I've got that other voice, the higher consciousness that's there saying, I know who you are. You be quiet. We're in charge now, you know? And I think that's when to tie into what you're saying about mindfulness. I think it's for people to be mindful. You have to understand your mind.
You go back 300,000 years ago and you left the cave. You suffered anxiety because you were proven to know that, I don't know what might have been there, saber-toothed tiger, something. As time has gone on, we have always felt these emotions. It's just now like what gives me anxiety and what gives you anxiety are two different things, but those feelings are normal. And when you accept them, for the actual core fundamental it is I'm anxious because I feel unsafe. Why do I feel unsafe?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, why am I feeling unsafe? Is it something surface? Am I in danger? Are my kids in danger? Like, sometimes it's just this noise that we're programmed with this common rejection around it that someone's going to judge us.
Yeah. That we attach stories and meanings to things. And that specifically, that's not done with an intentional thought. That's where I talk about a subconscious pattern and program. So, like an example of that would be, you know, in a relationship when, you know, say I feel disrespected. If I feel like I'm being disrespected, then I'll shut down and withdraw and I'll pull away. And it's like in that, if I'm to go right now, if I was to go deeper and ask why and why is that happening, it comes down to little Johnnie. When he felt like he was being disrespected or not seen, not worthy, like then he would go into his room or he would, you know, go into his shell. Does that make sense? So like that's a pattern where other people in that same scenario might get angry. And because in their program, what they watched was when they were rejected, you know, their parents or something would get angry. They'd lash out. They'd go the opposite way to what I would do. And I guess that's what I mean when I talk about subconscious patterns.
I learned a pretty cool thing. Like obviously I was very fortunate enough to work with some really good marriage counsellors, and they had this practice of the 30-30 rule, and it could go infinite. I mean, you'd hope it wouldn't. In some instances it probably should, but you would take 30-minute break and you would calm down your nervous system. It's not to say you'd take 30 minutes, jump on your phone or, you know what I mean, like go have a bong or, you know, go to the pub with the boys, come back 30 minutes later. When you're having an uncomfortable conversation, And we spoke about this, like it's typically you are programmed to think that it's the issue against the two of you.
Yes.
Where it's actually you two against the issue. But that comes down to, we spoke, values, you know, identifying all that sort of stuff, man. If I'd have known the stuff I knew today 5 to 10 years ago, could I be in a different place? You accept, though, that the past is the past. You know, there's that one quote, man, that I said to you, and I love it, dude. It's like, the person who lives in the past is depressed. The person who lives in the future is anxious. But the person who lives in the present is happy.
It's a gift.
That's why they call it the present. So, you know, Matthew McConaughey said it perfectly, man. Like, I'm just chasing myself 5 years at a time. And when I get there, I'll be chasing myself again for another 5 years' time. Because it's the gift. Tomorrow isn't promised, man. But if you just keep being better than the guy you were the day before. You've read Atomic Habits, man. That 1% better through compound of interest is pretty impactful.
Pays off big time, 100%. I agree with that. Angus, the 2 a.m. nights, bro, this is one thing I speak about a lot, and I struggle with them massively. It was always, I don't know what it was, but it was always between 1:45 and 2:15 in the morning. I'd always wake up, and then the thoughts would just flood in. What was that like for you?
I'm pretty lucky, man. I've stayed in the same environment from pretty much when I left the family home. And like, you know, me and the kids have our 2-bedroom apartment and it's home. But for a lot of last year, man, it was an internal prison. You know, it was those nights and you're sitting there wondering, you know, this isn't what I asked. This isn't what I wanted. And yeah, dude, I'd wake up at around like 2:15 to 2:45 and I couldn't get back to sleep.
Yeah.
But there were some days where I was like, cool, get up, go to the gym. There were other days that I sat there and you doom scroll and you think that, you know, everything could get better. And if I had have done this, I could have had this. And why does this person have this? But yeah, man, it can all be the environment you're telling yourself it is.
100%, bro. That story, the story and the meaning that you attach to it, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
I think for those dudes, man, if you're listening, you're struggling with those 2 a.m. thoughts and it's going to be really difficult. But when you sit here and think about, sit here and think about this now and all of the things that you're struggling with, more than likely they're all external things. And if you were to sit at a beach and just listen to the waves, listen to the birds and just breathe and just be there and be present, there's not one fucking thing in your life that is really in that moment affecting you. And it's when you understand that your thoughts are one, not always your own, but they're like the ocean. You'll never stop the waves coming in and you'll never stop the thoughts coming in. But you have a choice and you get to choose which wave you surf. You get to choose which thought you surf. And that thought up here will turn into a feeling in here, and the feeling in here will turn into an action that is outside of you. And thought creates feeling, feeling creates action. So if you're sitting there at 2 a.m. and you are constantly thinking, what if, and looking in the past, you're only going to be terrorizing yourself. It is super difficult, but it's super powerful to be able to take some mindful breaths and just remind yourself that not all these thoughts are mine. And I'm allowed to, I'm going to allow myself to allow these thoughts to pass through my mind. And I'm going to be grateful for still being here on this planet, still having my children, and still having health.
I think something as well that is pretty helpful that I discovered was, I know you're not going to like this, man, but I couldn't give a shit about cricket. And you could tell me everything about cricket, good, bad, indifferent, whatever it might be. You only get upset about things you care about.
Yeah.
You can say whatever you want to me about cricket. I know you're tearing up a bit right now. Are you okay?
I'm baseball now, man.
But you only get upset about things you care about.
Yeah.
So whether you can identify if it's, you know, that is the underlying value that I don't like, or she's going out, I don't like, or, you know what I mean? Like the surface of this guy's followed her. You know what I mean? You know that, and there are people that minimize it, and there are people who deflect that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Acknowledging, I'm sorry you feel that way. And what you're telling me is you feel upset because of this. I mean, the amount of times we've been in Dads for Dads calls and you've said, like, you haven't minimized it, but you're like, but go deeper.
Yeah.
Go deeper.
Yeah.
Go deeper.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's my favorite question is why. When someone says, like fucking, every time I get an email, every time I get an email, I think it's going to cost more money and like it just disturbs my peace. Why? Because like, it's going to cost more money. Why? Why does that upset you? And then like you continually go why and why and why, and you end up getting down to the core root of whatever that thing is that's triggering you.
I had a really good boss that I worked. Well, Troy. Troy's the man. And he used to say to me, he's like, what do you think? He's like, give me 2 answers. And you'd go back, this could be a work or personal one. And when you write down 2 answers, it's typically the first one, the one you should go with. So if you're stuck in a moment and you're like, why, write down 2 answers. It's that simple. Because typically your gut's going to tell you the first one. It might not be comfortable and it might not give you the quick answer, but trust your gut, dude.
Bro, I love that. And what just popped up for me then is that's why meditation is powerful, is because when you are able to still and quiet your mind, your higher consciousness and your gut instinct speaks to you. And so in that NLP course, bro, a lot of the time when you sit there and you do these exercises, it's always to become mindful. Like, so just come into your body and take some deep breaths. And then when someone speaks to you, whatever pops in first, you say it. You don't question it, you say it, because that's your subconscious and that is your higher consciousness speaking to you. And that is why meditation's so powerful, bro, is one, being able to become to get into control of your mind and your thoughts. But on that deeper level, it's to get into alignment and get into sync with yourself and your gut instinct. And I always tell this to the guys. It's like boiling a pot of pasta. Boiling water, you can't see your reflection in it. And it's the same with your emotions. Your emotions are swirling and boiling up inside of you. There's no clarity, there's no gut instinct, there's no higher consciousness. You're going to react from emotion. And it's until the water cools down and becomes still, you can see your reflection in it. It's the same thing with your gut instinct and higher consciousness.
I love that. I also think that there's a lot to be spoken around of internal fear of rejection.
Yeah,
like
100%.
especially when you come out of an unsuccessful marriage, relationship, even friendships, man. Rejection can leave a real sour taste, I think, If nothing changes, nothing changes. I get that. But sometimes things just happen beyond our control. And if you can reflect on what you brought, and if you were authentic enough, which not a lot of us are perfect enough to do that, but you can sometimes reflect on every interaction. And sometimes nothing's good. Don't say anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%. The armour. So I wanna hear your thoughts on reflecting on how much you were blaming other things, external things, and like the armour that you had on to deflect, I guess, feeling a certain way.
Fuck you. We all wear masks, and nowhere have I ever said I'm perfect. I guess the armour I use as masks, I don't know, I've always been fascinated with masks growing up, and, working in sales, which I know you can relate in, you have all these different people that come to you, and you can be different people for them. You can be that fast-paced, sweet, like let's get problems solved quickly sort of person, or you can be that, for that elderly customer, nurturing, calm, paced. When you deal with that on a daily basis, you can figure out pretty quickly what's going to be the right fit for different people, and it's a gift.
Chameleon.
It is. When you really sit there and, it's that Saturday night and it's like, am I going to the bar? Am I going to the Cass? Am I going to do all that and still show up to church tomorrow? Am I going to sit and spend the night doing what I want to do? And quite commonly I've found myself on those journeys. If I ever did anything for me, it was actually nurturing my inner child. Man.
Yeah, bro.
It was taking myself out for a Betty's Burgers and a movie on my own. And
I love that.
Maybe, going for a drive and a road trip because I was blessed to have a company car, so I was always in a nice new car.
Yeah.
It was only those times when I wanted to silence whatever that voice was telling me to show up, it was being numbed with alcohol and whatever else it was, negative company it could have been at the time, unaligning company.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing better that I like for myself than, dude, I love where we live, man. Like, this is one of the most beautiful places on earth.
100%.
Burley Hill on a Sunday morning watching the sunrise, man. It's better than any antidepressant I've ever seen.
Yeah, 100%. That's what I say about I've swapped Coke packets for gel packets and riding bikes and just cycling up the hills for 3 hours and watching the sun come up, bro. That's my I love that shit, bro. That fills my cup, I love it.
You can't overflow from an empty cup. So you got to figure out what does fill your cup, and the armour sometimes can deflect you from doing those things because of whatever noise you've told yourself. But the old saying, you work hard, you play hard.
Work hard, play hard. I love it. All right. So what did rebuilding actually look like for you day to day? Like when you look back at it, and after that we had that conversation, and like what did it look like every day? Catching your thoughts, journaling. Like what was it for you?
An alarm might go out, dude. The way my brain works, and it's different for everybody, is I have to have small practical steps involved in that. So realistically, having read a lot of information over the last 5 years, 6 years, listening to videos, podcasts, I had to figure out what were the small achievable steps. So for me, dude, it was making my bed every day. That was one of the hardest things for me to do, was actually having the amount of days that I'd wake up and just, dude, wouldn't even iron my suit. I would just throw on crease stuff, autopilot to work, show up to work, eat shit food. And I was like, well, how can I change this in a manageable way? And which we'd spoken about. And it was going back to the fundamental foundations, clean environment, clean mind. So I'd wake up, make my bed, man. I'd write down 3 things I'm grateful for. I'd come up with excuses to not do it. So I went and bought 4 notepads. Yeah. I put 1 in my car, 1 in my lounge room, 1 in my bathroom, dude. Still sits on my toilet, dude. I can never not come up with an excuse now because my environment has adapted the change that I needed to be. And then it dominoes. It does. Some days it doesn't, and that's okay. That's really what this variable journey is of recovery. You think it's going to be linear. Yeah. You think A and B is just one streamlined direction, but it's not, man. Every high has a low and every low has a high.
100%.
Yeah, dude.
I love that. That's mad. I love that. So how's things with your ex now compared to back then? I know your journey, and you might not want to open up on everything, but how are things with her now?
What you don't change, you choose. And unfortunately, you have to, it's like weight training. You know what I mean? To grow muscle, what do? You strain it.
Yeah.
You hurt it. And that's discomfort. And, we sit here and we talk about what's uncomfortable for a lot of people. And, uncomfortable for me is that 24-hour challenge you do, man.
Yeah.
And all that sort of
You're
stuff.
You're doing that next year too.
But I'm at a... I have to take back my power. So I'm at a point right now where we're doing the same thing expecting a different outcome. And unfortunately, due to pain and suffering, we're not on the same page.
Yep. And that's okay.
It's completely fine, man. And I'm at peace with that. And, your son's only ever going to love one woman, brother. And I've learnt this in life, man. There's 2 people you can unconditionally, and I mean it, unconditionally love in this world, dude. One's your mum, and the second one's your kids. That's it, bro. Everyone else is doing this for the first time.
Yeah.
So co-parenting isn't the direction we want it to be. It will get better, I believe it, truly. But it can be better. And when you've got one person that wants to make it work and the other person is in what they feel a safe place where they don't need to change, doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome is insanity, man, as we know. So, yeah, my co-parenting situation is probably different to a lot of men. I still show up for my kids. You know, they have a safe place with me when they come over. Like, we've just done school holidays, man, and a week of that is just insanity.
You'd have to tell me now, bro. I literally, before this, I was editing. I've got two YouTube videos to edit. One's like a day in the life, with us on school holidays, and the other one's, trying to, because I obviously doing the Ironman, so trying to get my training in on school holidays too. And fuck, man, it is draining as fuck. And I love my kids and I love being a dad, but fuck, there's only so many times you can hear, Dan, Daddy. Whoa, it's 7 a.m. Daddy, yesterday you said we could have 2 bits of chocolate every day. Can I have chocolate? So I literally said this to him today. I said, Cody, I'm going to give you a little lesson on life, mate. It's 7 o'clock. There's a lot of people out there who are not even awake yet. That's not the time for chocolate. It is not the time for chocolate. All right. And then my kids are relentless too, because he'll walk out of the room and come back and is like, what about now?
Right.
So, dude, it's been 2.5 minutes.
Right. I remember my mum saying to me, like, and I get some really good advice from my mum. And shout out to you. I love you, mum. But like,
I love you too.
What are you, my dad? But there was something that, mum, she raised me on her own for a bit of it, and I remember her taking me to, because I had a bit of a journey, so she took me to a child therapist, and she's like, I'm struggling with him, and I don't know if we're both at that age yet. Like, I mean, I have a little bit of an older boy, but I can't, all he does is like, he just negotiates. He negotiates. And mum said that this therapist turned around to her, and this would have been, dude, like probably in the early 2000s. What a great gift for a child to have. Yeah. The amount of parents you see there that shut down these children. Who are we to take away their power? You know what I mean? Like, there's a time and a place. Like, yeah. You're not having a family chocolate box.
Yeah.
At Easter. Like, but these are powerful things that, I think too many people aren't talking about with these little kids, because we're raising them to shut those voices.
Yeah.
We negotiate in our day-to-day activity.
100%.
And, working in sales, man, and working with public and meeting people in the community space, there are a lot of people who were disadvantaged because their parents didn't know not to nurture that.
100%, bro. Yeah.
If you don't ask, you don't get.
I know, man. And I love that, because I remember saying this to a few people, especially with Evie. Like Cody, when I was talking about this, Cody wasn't as developed, but for Evie, she's very strong, she's determined, and she knows what she wants, and she'll get it. And I said this to a lot of people because she's very good at it, and at the moment she's doing it the wrong way. She's manipulative and lying her way through that. So I remember saying this to a few people is, yeah, she's doing it the wrong way. And it's like, one, it's a great skill to have, is like being determined and strong and knowing what you want and getting it, but doing it the right way. So it's like, parenting her and helping her work that out. But it's like, as a parent, when she's doing that to you, it's like, fuck, and it's hard. And I remember saying, it's like, I don't want to beat that out of her, because I know there's a lot of parents who, that type of stuff, they'd really not like the manipulation or the things,
because they were told that.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? They were told that.
This is when I say to people about programs you have adopted that are not yours. People, they probably don't get it. What I'm saying is, when you were 0 to 7, we are sponges, and that's where we take the most in. 0 to 7 is our parents. 7 to 14, coaches, heroes, teachers. 14, it's your friends and your surroundings. There's so many people out there with their kids, and it's like, they might be, really, creative and like imaginative. And then there'll be parents out there, because their parents didn't allow them to be a little kid. So then it's like, you're not Spider-Man, like don't jump off that. Don't do this. And, because of what they come from or what they know, their program. And now they're programming their kid to not, to not be free and not like think for themselves and try things and hurt themselves. You know what I mean?
What are you saying? I've got it all figured out, man. But I think my job as a father is to keep my kids safe. And there was a really cool podcast that I was watching with Chris Williamson. And I mean, shout out to Modern Wisdom. We'll catch you. See you at the top.
I'll have you on.
But he had Matthew McConaughey on, and he said, you know, and he goes in like some days you're soaring and the other person's walking in partnership. And he starts talking about a dynamic where he's at in his marriage, and he's been with his wife for, I don't know, decades, I think, from my understanding. And he said, get the scar, get the heartbreak, fall. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Go through that. Whereas the other part might be, oh no, like protect them at all costs.
Yeah.
I think one of the most valuable things I learned in my working life up until this point was from probably one of the most successful people I've ever met. And like, they're worth a lot of money. And they said to me, sometimes it's better to ask for forgiveness before permission. I mean, that can go two ways. But
I lived a life like that. That was a toxic way.
Go two ways.
That was a toxic way. That.
Yeah, but if you're true and authentic in the mission at hand, not everyone's going to approve it.
Oh, 100%.
Sometimes it's better just to ask for forgiveness than the permission to do what you're doing.
I think that for me, bro, that's been one of the biggest pieces, biggest hurdles for me was, you know, like me to myself is like I was saying, who the fuck would want to listen to me? Why am I the guy? And you know, like just squashing my own dreams of this in fear of what other people would say about it, you know. And I remember I had my ex and her sister started a fake page about me. You remember that?
We were together when it happened.
Fucking mate, when man,
Yeah.
I'll
comment.
I'll stop there. I'll stop there. Yeah, and then, bro, that fucking affected me for about 8 months because I had it up. I was doing the content. I had the page up, and I took it. I went into my hole, and I stopped because I was like, I let that sink into my mind, you know, and I let that hold conviction. And yeah,
Have you heard that theory around the plants? And they have two plants in two separate rooms.
Yes, bro. I know exactly what you're going to talk about.
I love that one.
Yeah,
Hey? And they go to one plant over, I don't know if it's a 30-day, 60-day period. And every day they talk to that plant negatively and say all these harmful things. And then they talk positive affirmations to a second plant. It's pretty impressive.
The negative one dies and the other one thrives, man. And it's so true. And look, this is as well is the power of your mind and the power of your language. NLP, I love NLP, neuro linguistic programming, and it's literally the words you use. And you know, you can tell by how someone's doing is like, you know, hey mate, how you going? You know, fuck, slaving away. It's like, listen to what the fuck you're saying. What are your beliefs? Your beliefs are literally, I'm a slave on this earth.
I went out on Labor Day weekend, and I was out for the family. Like we did for my sister's lunch, and then we went played pool, and like we were meeting, like there was a lot of people. Long weekend. I think it was the last one before, I don't know, October or something like that. And it was beautiful weather, and I just went up to maybe 10 people that weekend and just said, "What's the best part of your day?" And the amount of, I want to specify men, that just said waking up. And, you know, that hurts, dude. Because I've been there. You know what I mean?
Bro, 100%. There's days that I've lived that I didn't want to wake up. I did not want to wake up. There's a lot of, I think we spoke about this on our walk, bros. There's a lot of men out there that I know that I speak to on calls, I speak to in DMs, bro, and they're going through the separation, man. They literally lose the will to live. And I was there. I had that. I lost. I would never do it, but I understand suicide, and I understand how people can get stuck in this negative loop and loop there for so long until they think the only way to get out of this is to leave this earth.
It's hard, man. Like, you wouldn't dig a hole with a spoon if you knew you had a shovel. And this whole thing about life, from what I've perceived, is learning new skills and stuff to deal with it, because the trials and tribulations of life are never going to stop. You know what I mean?
Like the waves, bro. The waves will never stop coming.
It's never going to stop, man. Like the tide, isn't it? It's going to always change. So when you learn new stuff, you can control the variables. And when you adapt, you can do that. I remember I lost a really good friend of mine when I was, it would have been 19, dude. And big part of my life up until that point, from, you know, late teens. And I put out this post that I remember reading, and it was like, tough times never last, but tough people do. And you become pretty resilient to when you face pain and you don't let it define you.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Like if I've overcome this, I can overcome that.
That's where I'm at now.
Yeah, you know
that's
what I
where
mean?
I'm at. It's like I feel like a superpower, bro. Like no one can take me down. It's like I walked through in what in my mind was Armageddon. It was friends turning on me. I like 90% of my wedding list don't speak to me. Dudes that used to work for me don't speak to me. Business partner doesn't speak to me. Bro, I clawed my way from rock bottom, and where I'm at now, it's like there's not one fucking thing anyone can say that's going to make me feel like any less of a person, you know? Yeah. Fucking power, bro.
Right? I love that. I'm much of the same, man. I'm pretty lucky. Like, obviously, being in a very unhealthy relationship, I lost a lot of really good people that were like, dude, you were there. Yeah. You know what I mean? I lost you for a couple of years, dude. And I'm at a point now where if it's for me, it will find me. And the amount of, like ride or die kind of mates that have come back in the picture now, and whether, like, obviously, a relationship between two people to work takes two people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can't do a waltz with a corpse, you know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
And I'm very thankful that I've just got foundations to come back to with really close, good friends that are aligning with me too. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, we partied back when we were younger, but we're all at different points now and we're all realigned. So iron sharpens iron, man. And I think when you sit there and look at the community spaces that are available for a general whole purpose, there's some great organisations, and then females have vice versa. But the thing with Dads for Dads is that I loved, and it's the ability to be vulnerable and not be enabled, and just have that access to be like, I'm going to get challenged. You know what I mean? Like, I think I might have this. Like, yeah, she was this, she was that. Why did you feel that way? You know what I mean? Yeah. Challenge that. Like, why are you feeling that way?
Yeah.
Because she's doing that. Yeah, but why are you feeling that way?
Yeah, I love that because that's my core. My core, and it's my core because I went through the same thing with Josh Holiday, my coach. It was like, he got to the point where the first 2 or 3 sessions, I think I was just whinging about her. And he gets, mate, I hear that, but I'm here talking with you and working on you. I can't control her. And that's my biggest thing is, you take all of the external noise away and you focus on the things that you can control. And you can't control what she does or says, but you can control how you return or respond or react, So that's my biggest thing is take everything away and you got you and what you did and how you acted, and let's talk about that.
I fell a bit on faith and religion on my journey for different motives that, I know what they're for, but there was this one that I heard, and actually Alcoholics Anonymous founded it. It's called the Serenity Prayer. Mm-hmm. And it's not specific to religion, but it says, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Give me the courage to change the things that I can, and give me the wisdom to know the difference.
I love that. That's mad.
That's cool.
I like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Shit, mate. Oh, bro, fatherhood now, bro. What does being a present dad actually mean to you? And how's your relationship with your kids today?
It's consistency, man. You think it's, Disney dad, it's this, it's that. Just coming through the school holidays, man, and I thought, oh, dude, like Yochi's just opened around the corner. Let's go to Yochi. Let's do some of these fun things that were fun for me as a kid growing up. We'll go for a road trip and go have a picnic up at Tambourine and watch the sunset. Sometimes for them, dude, it's just laying in bed. I had a movie night with all three of them, including myself. The 3 of us.
Yeah, you're a big boy.
I'm a single dad with 2 kids, okay? There's no one else. I'm talking to you, Anne Hathaway. Why her? I watched Batman the other night. Dude, those kids, man, they just want safety. They want their dad, and they just want to sit and throw. Like, I don't have a TV in my room, and we just put a little tablet on a pillow, man, and we watched, I don't know, for the 14th time, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. We overkilled movies at the moment,
Yeah.
bro. It's, you know, it's setting up an air mattress on the balcony and putting a projector on the wall. It's letting them cook their own lunch. It's those little things, man, is the things that are just going to help you surrender the control and let the chaos happen. Because with kids and fathering and everything else in between, dude, it's chaos. It is. It's going to be messy in the kitchen. Dude, I let my kids, I don't know if you're at that point where you let them just shower on their own. I have like bubbles coming out of the drain 3 days later.
Yes.
Still. Like
Yes,
they're gone and
bro.
it's like.
We go through a litre of soap every 3 days.
I was about to say shampoo. Like it's nuts, dude. It's letting them know that the chaos is, you're a dad, so you got to control it to some degree. Like, you know, they don't use sharp stationery and stuff like that. But you nurture that, man. Because I remember those more than SeaWorld, Movie World, Wet and Wild.
Yeah, and I think that ties into how important working on yourself is, because the kids are chaotic, and if your internal world is chaotic, you're going to leak chaos. You're going to leak those emotions that come up in chaos. You're going to leak them. And I always use an analogy is like our bodies are like a bin with a lid, with emotion, you know. And if you've got too much rubbish in there and you keep putting rubbish in, it's going to overflow. Same with your emotions. You've got a lot of emotion in there and you put a little bit more emotion in there from the kids, it's going to overflow. And your kids don't remember what you say to them. They remember how they felt with you, you know. So if you're constantly thinking you're doing a good job and you're there with your kids, but you're constantly tense and snapping and reactive because of them just being kids, then
what's that going to get you in 10 years' time?
Exactly right.
Yeah. They're pretty resilient, but they're alert.
Yeah, 100, bro.
Yeah.
You know what? I think a big point of my growth was when I realized how much they see and soak in. You know, like I remember they said something to me, Dad, do you remember this at this spot? And I just went, how the fuck did you remember that? And what else can you remember?
Yep.
And it was in that moment I was like, ooh, shit, okay. Yep, we got to do something now.
Yeah. And you got to act quick, don't you?
Give us a recent moment that you showed how far you've come.
I don't smell the roses enough. I don't. I'm very much like yourself. Go when I don't have the kids.
What's next?
Yeah. What can I learn? What can I do? Probably I've had a fair few people recently that have just said, I'm proud of you and how far you've come. And, you know, like, it's blood, it's close friends. You don't realise what you're doing, and I'm talking to you now, like, you can be inspiring a lot of people who don't even have a voice to say, I need help. And just seeing that, you know, I don't have it all together and I haven't got it figured out.
Nor do I.
But showing up each day, I mean, you found your voice, man, which is pretty impressive, because there's a lot of guys who have all the talent in the world and they can't even tell themselves that they have the talent. So, something recently, man, it would just have to have been, yeah.
I know what you want to say, just say it. 'Cause I feel like I know the exact piece of growth moment that you had that you'd love to touch on.
No, I'm just, the life I'm living now is everything I've dreamed of. And for some reason, life serves you a different challenge of what you think you needed to have this life to what you actually have. I'm just out with the old, in with the new, man. Like, I don't know. I'm not prideful enough to sit here and even dissect what it actually is.
Can I?
I'm a student of this game, man.
Can I?
Go for it.
I'll do it for you.
Go for it.
Angus was in a position, and I quickly want to touch on this for anyone that's out there. This is one of the hardest parts for men, and I speak to a lot of men in this journey, is speaking their piece and saying the things that are happening in their situation and they don't, out of fear, they'll lose their kids, or they'll find themselves in court, or they'll find themselves in a police station. It is this sort of thing that I want to make it safe for men to be able to tell their side of the story safely. Right?
Took my power back, dude.
Huh?
Took my power back.
Yeah. Do you feel confident to say it now? Let's go.
Yeah.
My boy.
Yeah, it was right there, right? It was right there, man. I took my power back. So if you had to sit there and say, what was the question?
Like the most, I think it was, give me a recent moment that showed how far you've come.
I took my power back, man. And in saying that, what that looked like, because I did have my individuality and everything like that, and the ability to be resilient to a lot of different things, but I just, when it comes to how people would get a reaction from me, I've figured out in a timely, pretty quick manner, dude, like I can respond to this or I don't. And silence is sometimes the best response you can ever do, man.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably like, took a little bit just to properly dissect, but dude, that's worth more than any Mercedes in the driveway. That's worth more than any penthouse suite.
100%.
Or, you know what I mean? That to me is priceless to have that. Yeah, dude. Shout out to you, man, too, for that.
I appreciate you. He was on. I think I know because he called me. He called me and he had told me what was going on, and then he had external sources that were going to push him in one direction, and his gut feeling was that's not right. So he called me, and we got clear on it, and he just fucking let it go, and he banked a little bit of evidence, and he put a smile on his face, and he kicked on with his day.
It's hindsight, isn't it, dude? I don't look too big. You know, like, obviously the rear view mirror in a car is smaller than the windscreen for a reason. I don't really find myself looking back too much anymore because I can get caught up on what is back there too.
100%.
I'm not perfect to say that, but yeah, dude, we're just moving forward now. Get up each day, and some days you've got a full tank, some days you've got 3/4, some days you're on empty, man. It's okay.
Yeah, I love that one. Is like some days you don't have 100% to give. You may only have 20% to give, but if you give 20%, you've given 100%.
What did Babe Ruth say, man? You miss 100% of the shots you don't shoot. I like that too. That's a good one.
Well, bro, great chatting with you. And to close it out, like, what's one thing you'd like to tell the men going through this?
Keep going. Keep going. Bright days are ahead. No one's going to tell you that it's smooth, it's linear, it's safe. And everything you feel on that journey, man, is normal. But iron sharpens iron. Find someone that you can lean on, man. And you know, I've got a code word with a really good friend of mine where we just say mud. And some days it's just sitting in the mud with that person. Or they're sitting in the mud with me. But just keep going. You know, we're losing too many good people in this world to surface level problems. And sometimes talking to somebody can just change it, man. You know, I tell you those 3 things I live by now, man. It's spread joy and just be kind. You never know what someone's going through. Make your bed. Choose to do a hard thing every day. Wash your ass, dude.
I was gonna
Look after yourself.
I was gonna say, I really look forward to like editing because you're sitting here doing this. I really look forward to seeing me edit. No, like you're right, Ian. Sweet, bro. Thank you. And is there anything else you want to share? Yeah.
Man, Dads for Dads. It's definitely something that if you've considered and what you've seen with Johnnie and his journey is relatable to you, man. Asking for help can be the hardest thing you ever do, but do it. He's on a path that is infectious, and I love sharing that space with the brothers. So thank you, brother.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for jumping on. And that's it for this one. If something in there hit home, do 2 things. Share it with a dad who needs it. You might be the reason that he keeps showing up. And if you're doing this alone, there's a link in the show notes to have a real conversation with me about where you're at. And hopefully that we can get you in the Dads for Dads community and start moving you in the right direction to growth. So, yeah, appreciate you guys, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks, guys.